Shops quote you $2,500 for a catalytic converter replacement. But your precious metals aren't gone, they're just smothered in carbon glaze. This $3 hardware store chemical dissolves that baked-on crust through fuel combustion without removing a single bolt. But beware, mixing the wrong ratio can melt your ceramic core instantly. Here's how to save $2,500 safely right now. $2,500. That's the number printed on the quote sitting on the counter, and the guy behind it is already reaching for your keys like the decision has been made for you. Check engine light. Code P0420. Catalyst efficiency below threshold, bank 1. And the story that comes with it is always the exact same story. The precious metals are gone. The honeycomb is destroyed. We have to cut it out and weld a new one in. Here's what almost nobody tells you standing at that counter. In the overwhelming majority of P0420 cases that roll into an exhaust shop in this country, the platinum is still in there. The palladium is still in there. The rhodium, the most expensive metal in the whole assembly, worth more per ounce than gold, is still sitting inside that ceramic honeycomb, chemically intact. It didn't burn away. It didn't evaporate. It got buried. Buried under a hard, glassy shell of carbon and unburned fuel residue that suffocates the surface and strangles the reaction. And there is a $3 liquid sitting on a shelf in the paint aisle of every hardware store in America that attacks that shell from the inside, through the combustion chamber, without a single wrench and without cutting a single pipe. But before you touch anything, there is an exact ratio. Go past it, and you don't clean the converter. You cook it. You can turn a perfectly recoverable converter into a melted ceramic brick in about 11 minutes of hard driving, and at that point the shop's $2,500 quote becomes the only option you have left. I'm going to give you that ratio down to the ounce. But first you need to understand why the shop's story collapses the moment you look at how that code is actually generated. Your engine computer has no idea what's inside your catalytic converter. None. It can't see the honeycomb. It doesn't measure platinum. All it does is compare two oxygen sensors, one screwed in before the converter, one screwed in after it. The upstream sensor swings up and down constantly, rich, lean, dozens of times a minute. That's normal. That's the fuel trim doing its job. The downstream sensor is supposed to sit almost flat, lazy, barely moving, because a healthy converter absorbs and releases oxygen and smooths that signal out like a shock absorber. When the downstream sensor starts mirroring the upstream sensor, when it starts swinging in sync, the computer makes one single assumption. Converter's not storing oxygen anymore. Throw P0420. That's it. That's the entire diagnosis. It's a comparison of two voltage waveforms, and it's a comparison that a layer of carbon fouling triggers just as easily as a genuinely dead converter. So think about what that actually means. The code is not a measurement of your converter's health. It's a symptom. And symptoms have more than one cause. That's the part that makes replacement such a profitable default. A shop pulls the code, reads the definition on the scanner screen, and quotes the most expensive part on the exhaust system. 20 minutes of labor, a part with enormous margin, and a customer who has no way to argue. Meanwhile, the actual failure could be a $60 downstream oxygen sensor that's aged out and gone lazy. It could be a hairline exhaust leak upstream pulling ambient air across the sensor tip and skewing every reading. It could be a misfire on one cylinder dumping raw fuel into the exhaust. It could be worn valve seals letting a whisper of oil into the chamber. And in an enormous number of cases, it's carbon. Just carbon. A vehicle that lives on short trips, cold starts, stop-and-go traffic, 10 minutes to the store and 10 minutes back, never getting the exhaust hot enough for long enough to burn its own deposits off. Now let me show you what's physically happening inside that can, because once you understand the geometry you'll understand exactly why a solvent works and why sandblasting, hammering, or pressure washing a converter, all things people genuinely try, destroy it instantly. Inside the shell there's a ceramic monolith. Picture a block of tiny square channels running front to back, roughly 400 cells per square inch. That ceramic itself is inert. It does nothing. What does the work is a coating sprayed onto the walls of every one of those channels called the wash coat, a microscopically porous aluminum oxide layer with a surface area so enormous that the wash coat inside a single converter, unfolded, would cover multiple football fields. Scattered across that surface are the precious metals. Platinum and palladium handle oxidation, burning leftover hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide. Rhodium handles reduction, tearing apart nitrogen oxides. The reaction only happens where exhaust gas physically touches metal. That's the entire principle. Contact area. So when a rich running engine, a dirty injector, or years of cold short trips push unburned hydrocarbons downstream, those hydrocarbons condense on the wash coat, then bake. They polymerize. They cross-link into a hard carbonaceous glaze, the same way old cooking oil turns into that black varnish on a neglected pan. It's not soot you can blow out. It's a fused film sealing the pores of the wash coat shut. The metal is still there. The exhaust gas simply can't reach it anymore. Oxygen storage collapses. The downstream sensor starts mirroring the upstream sensor. P0420. That's the failure mode we're targeting. And here's the critical logic. You cannot dissolve that glaze from the exhaust end, because the only thing that touches the exhaust end is exhaust. So you attack it from the front, you deliver a cleaning agent through the fuel, through the injectors, through the combustion event, and out into the converter as a superheated vapor. Which brings us to the $3 bottle. The chemical is xylene. Sometimes labeled xylol, sold as a paint thinner and reducer, usually $4 to $7 a quart depending on where you live. Toluene works on the same principle if xylene isn't available. Both are aromatic hydrocarbons, ring-structured molecules, and here's the thing almost nobody realizes. They are already in your gas tank. Pump gasoline in the United States routinely contains meaningful percentages of toluene and xylene from the refining process. They're octane boosters. Race teams have blended toluene into fuel for decades for exactly that reason. You are not introducing something alien to your fuel system. You're concentrating something that's already there. What makes aromatics different from the alcohols and esters in an ordinary bottle of injector cleaner is where their energy lands. They carry a high heat of combustion and they burn slower, with a longer flame duration, which pushes exhaust gas temperature higher through the entire expansion stroke. That elevated temperature is the actual mechanism. Carbon glaze doesn't dissolve in a converter, it oxidizes. It burns off. And the burn-off threshold sits well above what a car doing school runs and grocery trips ever reaches. Sustained aromatic combustion drags exhaust gas temperature up into the range where that fused carbon film finally lets go, channel by channel, and vents out the tailpipe as carbon dioxide. You are not washing the converter. You are giving it, chemically, the one thing a short-trip vehicle never gets, a controlled, sustained, high-temperature burn. Now the danger. Read this part twice, because this is the section that separates a restored converter from a $2,000 mistake. Temperature is the tool and temperature is the weapon. Cordierite ceramic, the substrate in most converters, begins softening and deforming around 2300 degrees Fahrenheit. If you overdose the mixture, or if you're running an engine with a genuine misfire, you can push past that. The channels sag, partially fuse, and collapse into each other. Now you've got a physical restriction. The engine loses its ability to breathe, you feel it as a dead flat spot above 3000 RPM, and no chemical on Earth reverses melted ceramic. So, never exceed 1% of your total fuel volume. I'll give you the exact measurement in a moment. Second warning, and this one is absolute. Do not substitute. Acetone attacks certain fuel system elastomers and flashes off far too fast. Methyl ethyl ketone, lacquer thinner, brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner sprayed into a tank. Brake cleaner in particular can contain chlorinated compounds, and chlorinated compounds passing through a hot catalytic converter can generate genuinely dangerous byproducts and poison the precious metals permanently. That is not a converter you clean afterward.